Is my booty touching the floor?
Yes. I can't. Okay. We're gonna
These chairs.
collect yourself so you can cut this out.
Welcome to another episode of The Scratch, Hazelwood West podcast. We're your hosts, Matthew Gilliard
And Destiny Love.
Let's get started.
So today's topic, we're going to be talking about digital and physical media and the switch.
Yeah, the transition.
The latter to what we have now, and how it's kind of affected the internet and society and
Young people don't know nothing about
the children
having items. They don't that's why people find collections so interesting, is because they don't have anything. Your phone watches the movies, the calculator has all your books, it can search whatever you want.
ChatGPT.
Back in the day, if you wanted to know, let's say you found a bug outside, you would have to probably get a magnifying glass and go actually see the bug.
You're like, oh.
Maybe you took a picture with the camera and you had to get that printed somewhere so you can see your
give it
piece
to
of
a
film.
bugologist or whatever.
You would go to the library and then you'd go find the book about the bugs, and then you would match the bug. This is it's 20, 30 different steps. Now I pull up my phone and it scans it and it shows, hey, this is a butterfly. Stupid.
It's a monarch.
This is a monarch butterfly. You couldn't tell?
That. Why not? There's a tree that I have outside of my home, and it's white. It grows white flowers in the spring,
pretty.
And then very pretty. And then whenever after some time passes, the leaves turn green. I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, hey, I want to know what kind of tree this is. I really wish I knew. And she's like, oh, you can take a photo. I have this app on my phone where I can scan a plant and it just tells me. And I was like, wow.
What has today's world come to? So easy, yeah.
I sound old because we're seniors.
Right.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we are seniors. We're only 18, but we also kind of grew up with the millennials, and we were the generation that grew up with and after the development of different technologies, but we still know more than most kids.
Right.
We're not old. We don't know everything possible. It's just I don't want to sound
that's how
cocky.
We're the best
We're
generation.
the best generation.
If you're really looking at it,
we went
Z's
outside.
at the end because we're the best. That's how it is. Gen
Z is the better, and then there's Gen Alpha. You see how they ran out of letters?
And they had to restart with some other language, some dead language.
They had to bring out a whole word that nobody speaks Greek.
Latin? Is it Greek? It's Greek.
Alpha is Greek. You know, how sororities are beta, alpha, sigma, delta, theta, whatever. Anyways, we're not the better generation, but we're the generation that got it
all I had to do was Google it. If I Googled it, I would have known.
If I see?
My mom, she says that. She's why don't you, instead of looking it up, just sit and think about it. Work your brain a little. And try to, no, I'm not going to. But come on.
Why would I do that?
She has the small point, is that we can get information so fast, you don't have to think about anything if you don't want to. I probably would, if I took 10 or 20 seconds, I probably would have been right that it was Greek and not Latin. But
yes, you were just so quick. You could have looked it up. What is alpha? What language is alpha?
You can't look up what is alpha on the internet and get the correct result.
Never mind. Yeah, you're right. Not in this day. Not in this day and age.
That's me.
We're not going to get the same answer. But
it's going to be a black page. You're the alpha.
But back to what you said about how your mom was you just sit and think about it. You don't have to use Google. That's the problem with us having everything go digital now. What's a good example? Back in 2020, when we all had to go virtual.
Right.
Sorry. Trigger warning. 2020.
Just all of it.
Just all of it, the entire year. When we had to go virtual, that entire kind of year and a half of everybody being on lockdown, having to interact with each other through the internet and kind of having connect that way is kind of rewired the way we do things in our daily lives, at school, which I'm sure some of you have noticed. Some of my teachers have actually tried to branch off from doing everything on line and on the computers, and actually have started giving
physical
out
copies.
books.
I noticed that teachers will ask, do you want to do it online or do you want like the print? And I hear a wide variety of answers. I figured everyone would just go, I want to type it on my computer.
I want to do it online.
Because to me, that's faster than like writing and going, oh, my hand hurts, oh, the struggle. No, but somehow there are still lots of kids who are like, no, I want the piece of paper and I want to read the letters and like my pretty handwriting.
I have nice, like, I think that kind of gives some kind of hope. I don't want to say like everything being digital is just horrible. And
no, it's so much better.
It's so much better. It's very easy, very convenient, really. But at the same time, it like kind of begs the question: how much convenience is too convenient?
Well, because the thing is, like, these companies will promise convenience, but in their way of giving convenience, they're taking away like
actual critical thought and
your ability to just have stuff.
Yeah.
Businesses, they want to give you convenience, but in their way of giving convenience, they're conveniently also taking out your accessibility to just own the stuff that you pay for. Everything's a license and you have the right to it, but they can take it away at any time.
Everything's a subscription.
Like Adobe grinds my gears. It really irks me with you cannot buy you can't buy Photoshop anymore. You have to pay the $40 a month. And if you like cancel too late or something, then they charge you more money. And if you like, stop playing with me. Photoshop hasn't actually changed in probably a decade by this point. They don't really. The newest feature that they've had was like the generative AI stuff, which although is cool, people are iffy about that. But even then, like before that, still it's been like a decade since, because it's Photoshop. The selection tool, erase tool, paper.
You do the same thing.
We all do and they've realized that. Like, we don't know how we can keep making people buy the newest version. So their answer, force them to. Yeah. Get the subscription. And now everything's a subscription. At least with Creative Cloud, they promise a yearly update. With other stuff, it's just like what am I paying? Like, I bought a camera app and they were talking about you want a subscription for that. It's an application. Nothing has changed.
It's going to be the same thing.
This camera app has no updates. You haven't done anything to it. It's finished.
Unless the camera is going to start taking high quality photos by itself and making people come to life, I don't know why I have to pay all that money.
Creative Cloud promises, or like Netflix, these companies, they have at least the drive. The whole point is it's in the cloud. So when you pay them, you're paying to keep their servers up.
Like, you remember when, I don't know if this is like relatable to everybody or even you, but like, do you remember Redbox?
Yeah. Yes.
Remember when you just went and physically bought when
Big
Netflix
Redbox
wasn't just me? I loved going to Walgreens and like renting out a Redbox movie, like with my mom, because like,
and then buying some popcorn and going home and
it was just, it's not like you can't get that same kind of enjoyment, but it's the nostalgia of it.
Well, the thing with Redbox is it being a third company means that it had access to all of the content. Yeah. Like they could get the rights to Disney movies and movies that would only be on HBO. And unlike Netflix, although actually Netflix had rights to Disney until Disney Plus came around, but every company splitting off and making their own streaming service.
And then Disney buying Hulu.
Means that you have to pay for all of them. It's like cable.
Yeah.
Everything's just going back to what cable was.
This is just cable, but with extra money. But 10 times worse. It's horrible. Because after Netflix had their whole thing where people, for some reason, agreed that they should have ad-supported.
The ad-supported tier.
You cannot share through different households. They know. They caught me one day. It was scary. They were like, hey,
this isn't
wrong. Your Wi-Fi.
Right.
Yes, it is. I'm just traveling. How would you know that? That's stupid and that's weird. Also, first of all, that's a little spooky because they shouldn't. I don't understand like the greed, but I still don't understand the need to like, I can't think of the word, but kind of not monitor, but track everything. That's what the internet does, I guess. But like everything that we do with our money, what we're watching, Netflix, because you can't do anything without something watching you.
They love collecting data.
They love collecting data. That's how they get their money.
Because they can sell that, and collecting data makes more money than just people paying the monthly subscription.
Because like as soon as you type in your email, give them a password, your name,
they start reaching in that database.
They get everything that you've ever signed in with that same email, that same password. Because I know you people do not change your passwords. Don't play. Because I know I don't. But that's neither here nor there. But it's like, it's just greed. It's pure greed. They're trying to get, like, you can't even listen to music for free anymore unless you have Spotify, but nobody likes Spotify.
Music is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Like the way that Gen Z has come back to physical media for music, buying vinyls and CDs,
getting DVD, record players.
Record players, Bryant, some kid, he came up to me talking about a Walkman. He's like, I want to get a Walkman and I want to get
American Psycho?
Cassettes. How hard would it be to convert my music from Spotify onto cassettes? And I'm like, very hard.
I want to know, how do I do this? I've seen people like on TikTok give tutorials on how to burn CDs. People are going as far as literally burning things they did back in 2009. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Half of you were born in that year. Like,
I don't know if we're that old to say that.
Anyways, like you wouldn't think that with how companies are pushing out AI and more devices and more computers and more cool things that their devices can do.
Let's get the smart watch, the smart glasses, smart earbud.
No, our Gen Z, there are literally people who are like, screw that. I want to go back to when it was backwards. 90s. We're going back to 1990s. We're going back to the 2000s because we're going back to reading books. I hate people who read books digitally, but
I borrow books online and I read them on my iPad.
There's nothing wrong with reading books digitally. If you have a little Kindle, that's fine. But I feel like, as long as people are reading, nobody really reads anymore, honestly. But as long as people are reading,
when I had to do an assignment asking people like what they were reading, all of a sudden all these people, people I did not think has touched a book in their life. These random nerds will come up. This is what I'm reading. Here's what I'm reading right now.
Like,
I love American Psycho. Like, what are you talking about? And then they'll pull out the book from their book bag. I'm like,
I felt targeted.
Under the 20 pages of crumbled pieces of paper is a book.
There is a book that's actually been touched, and they're like halfway through it. I've recently gotten back into reading again. Speaking of American Psycho, yes, that is one book that I've read, but like, it kind of made me appreciate reading again because I used to read a lot as a child. Right. I read many books. I have a whole bookshelf of books that I either haven't touched in years or just have read many times. And I'm not going to say people are stupid. I'm not going to say
we wouldn't say that.
We wouldn't say that.
No, we're Gen Z.
We're Gen Z. We
don't need to.
Anyways, I'm not going to say people are dumb. I'm not going to say people are like illiterate, but there's definitely a strong apathy towards wanting to learn more, wanting to read, wanting to do things on your own without the help of the internet. Because there's nothing wrong with using the internet as like a aid, as a tool. Google, Bing, I don't know. Firefox.
No one has ever touched.
Nobody touches Bing, but I'm naming search engines that people search on. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all, but it gets to a point where it's like, how much of your own thinking are you doing without immediately going like, I don't know what this means. I'm gonna go Google it. I'm gonna use
be honest with you. You said the word apathy, and I looked it up just now. Because I was like, which one? What does that mean again? Is it
Exhibit A? People need more wider vocabularies. People, no offense to you, Matthew.
No, it's offense. I'll take it because I should have known what that word meant.
But if you don't know what apathy means, look it up right now.
Go online.
As my fourth period English teacher said, y'all don't know how to read. And it's true. Some of you don't know how to read. I've learned of people who have been using generative AI, ChatGPT, to write their essays. People don't even know how to write essays on their own.
Straight up laziness.
It's not exactly. It's laziness. Digital media is like pushing laziness. It's not letting people be creative. People think.
Back to music.
Yes.
People don't they just click the shuffle button and they let Spotify give them a playlist and play all their songs. They don't go out and seek music. They don't, or like with YouTube, you go on YouTube, just recommend me something.
Just give me something.
I don't know what I want to watch. Just give me something. The algorithm is going to find it for them.
And I don't need to search on my own. I don't need the
idea of what I want to watch. I just want them to
find it for me.
Show it to me. That was like the whole concept of TikTok.
Yes.
You don't have to do any of that. They just give it to you. Well, and then they keep on giving until you decided you're
going to doom scroll for 5 hours. And they're like, well, now we don't know what you want. But then you perfectly craft that algorithm. And they know.
And they collect all that data.
They're collecting that data.
That's why they be doing that. It comes in play.
This is kind of not entirely unrelated, but it just reminded me of something that I saw. It was like a video of somebody saying like how we used to like figure out the lyrics of songs back in the day, and it was them like listening to the song over and over, because mind you, back in the 70s and like the 80s and like decades ago,
they did 40, not know 50, what they were saying.
They didn't know what they were saying. They were making wild guesstimates. They didn't really have, because they had computers. They weren't crazy. You couldn't just go on Google and be like, what are the lyrics to the song?
When you bought the song, it was on it. Like on the CD.
Yeah.
Dude, like the stuff that used to come with physical media, when you'd buy a DVD, you buy a CD, and it has the little booklet inside that has like all the, like a little poster information. You be sitting there reading this in the car while you wait to go home and play it. Or when you would buy a movie and all the bonus content would come with, they don't do that no more.
But that's actually something I was going to say. I have seen, especially with the release of a lot of movies, Wicked is a good example. I've been seeing them promote Blu-ray. I still don't know what a Blu-ray player is, by the way. I wasn't that rich as a kid. I had a DVD player and a portable one.
It's because Blu-ray was late. Like when it was coming out right after that.
Get it now on DVD or Blu-ray. What is that? I guess people care enough because, like I said, I've been seeing different like movies advertised like,
you can still buy it.
You can get it on Blu-ray, but nobody. You're not gonna find DVDs or Blu-ray movies in stores unless you go to a thrift store or an antique store, which they are reselling that. And most of the time, it doesn't work. You want a Wii game? It's scratched. You want a Wii game? You better go to Goodwill. Where are you getting? Nintendo doesn't care about their Wiis anymore. They discontinued them.
Yes. You? A little less than 20 years ago.
A little
the
less.
Wii's getting a little old.
They are, but
like speaking of video games, like physical games, they do not want you to have physical games.
No, they're like, you want it? Get it online.
Me and my friends, we used to buy Wii U games and Wii games separately. Yeah. So let's go buy 2 different games, and then we would swap with each other to have a bigger library. Yeah. So we can, but they don't want you sharing games. How dare you? Everybody needs to buy their own copy of the game.
And you need to give us your money and pay us.
Do you remember on 3DS, they had the feature download play? I had a game and you didn't have the game, but there was multiplayer.
And the 3DS Lite would like have a 3DS.
It was on DS too. That was it would send over a small copy of like with Mario Kart.
Yes, with Mario.
They would send over a small copy of the game so you and all your friends could play with only one copy.
But now
back when they loved us with the Switch,
you want to play multiplayer? You better pay us a subscription. You can't play Animal Crossing New Horizons with other people.
Buy it twice and pay the subscription. Like Splatoon, they want you to buy both copies of the game, even though the first Splatoon 1 had multiplayer built in. And they just didn't do that anymore because like no one bought the Wii U, so they hate us. But they could. They don't do split screen anymore. There is no split screen multiplayer for most games. That's why like It Takes Two was such a groundbreaking concept.
Because you had 2, like you could see the other versions.
Side by side gameplay.
I've only played It Takes Two once, and it was actually really fun.
It is a splendid game, and they made a new game that I need to get to. I don't remember what it's called, but the developers, they made another like multiplayer style split screen game. Speaking
of new games, they came out with Tomodachi Life 2, and I don't know. I do miss like having, because I have a whole collection of DVDs, Wii games.
You get to look at them.
DS cartridge, and I can look at them, and I can use them because I have a Wii. I don't have a DS anymore, but I have a Wii, and I have a DVD player, and I have a portable DVD player, and I have all of those old things. But if I were to show like a 9-year-old My portable DVD player.
What is this?
Is that a computer? Why is it so fat?
I know it's so small and thick. I don't understand.
I don't know what that is. How does it work?
Is it touchscreen? Why isn't it working?
Why isn't like iPad doesn't do that?
iPad doesn't do that. Another
thing with like DVDs, most computers don't have
displayers anymore. They took it out.
I think that's evil because going back to The Sims, before and even now, but before, you only could buy the actual game and all of the packs and the separate like DLCs that came with it digitally. You could, or physically, and you could do that with like a lot of games before, I think. And it kind of like, I don't know, it makes me a little sad because like, what if I wanted to, because they brought back like some of the older games, but what if I didn't want to buy it online? What if I just wanted to?
PC was the first of the consoles to get rid of physical media. All games on PC used to be you would buy the disc and you would insert it in your computer and it would download and you play it and all that fun stuff. But then Steam came around and they promised a whole new world. But Steam did it right. Steam introduced family sharing and code managing, and
we love Steam.
They have an amazing refund policy.
The only flaw with the family sharing is you can't play multiplayer games if you only have
one copy. Well, yes, that's just how a physical disc works.
Yes, that's true. It still makes me sad, but like it's still cool because we love Steam. We love when companies actually care about their people and listen. And I think what companies, they don't care, but they think that we also don't care.
Right. They're just like, well, the money is the same anyway. Like, you're going to pay the same amount.
For it. Who cares? But if you change, you're going to get a wider market. You're going to get a lot of money.
Steam promised like they would, if you got a digital copy, because we didn't have to print a disc, because they had to buy the disc they put the game on, and they had to get the plastic and they had to send it to realtors. So they were like, okay, you get the digital copy, we'll take off $5.
Like,
for the effort.
Amazing. Nintendo,
but
buy the game.
Right. Nintendo, when the actual consoles, Xbox and PlayStation, they started introducing their digital
console to ever come out. Atari? No.
It would be Atari, but that's way far back. Let me get to the point.
Sorry.
When Xbox and PlayStation, they started introducing their digital storefronts, they didn't add any of that fun stuff that Steam did. They didn't have the like adding a code or sharing with a family because they didn't care. Nobody else, you were going to pay the full price for the game digitally and have no proof of it. Backwards compatibility, who? And then consoles started making, like the all digital consoles.
Yes.
Where I own this whole library of games. They really committed and people are buying them. So
it's working. But it's at what cost? Because I have an Xbox, but mine is newer, so there's no port for like digital. So I am if I want a game, I am forced to buy it digitally. One thing I guess they're kind of cool for is Game Pass. Like they have a small variety, a large enough with games that some people want, but they have a very small variety of like games that you can get if you pay them like
it's like $10, $11 a month. Xbox Game Pass is like the only thing that's keeping Xbox alive at this point.
Yes, they came out with another Xbox. Who cares? We have a PS5. Nobody wants a new Xbox. Who wants an Xbox?
It's really upsetting how hard they lost.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at consoles and you look at PlayStation and Xbox, it's like these two are the same.
They're the same. They cost the same.
But this one is better.
Yes. So slightly. It's very depressing because I don't like Xbox.
This one has the more features. More importantly, this one has the most users. PlayStation, everybody got a PlayStation. So when new people who don't have a console, I'll just get what my friends have. Well, all your friends have PlayStation.
All your friends have PlayStation. Guess what? You're not going to get that. Have fun.
Xbox, they keep marketing this everything's an Xbox thing.
Yeah.
And as we know, if everything's an Xbox and nothing is an Xbox, which is why people are thinking, hey, we don't think there's going to be a new Xbox.
I kind of miss old like advertisements for games and consoles and stuff.
I don't know why they don't do that.
I don't know why they don't make. What happened to graphic designing? Like
they don't make ads like they used to.
Everything
they just do a bunch
is very minimal. Everything is very like boring, and it's like
flat.
Buy this flat. Like
buy this. They're not creative. They've been using that AI.
Yeah. I'm not even going to talk about that. But like with look up like older advertisements for like Xbox games.
The old PlayStation ads.
The old PlayStation
were menaces.
ads.
PS2 ads, they were just
DS
nasty.
ads, they were filthy. Y'all were freaky. It was horrible. All the old ads for like different video games like The Sims 2 or The Sims 1. Like it made people actually interested. And I feel like when you advertise things to like a general, because like I said, companies don't care because they think we don't care, but this is a whole nother generation. Like if you advertise more physical things that people can buy and keep, because the internet may not be forever. You have something online or on your phone, it may go away. Who knows? I mean, that's kind of like
what I like.
Yeah.
On TikTok, I see these hauls. This is like, yeah, this is my my carry-on. These are what I bring, my everyday essentials, and they'll so like, yeah, it's like a DS and a Walkman and all these like really old,
just very old
technologies that people don't use. They got the calculator watch and stuff from the 80s, just like. And they have the whole spread of color matching electronics. Remember when they used to make things in color?
When they made everything colorful. Apple.
Now every iPhone is in silver and black.
Or
you want white or black?
Or black light, or purple light, or pink, red, or brown.
I think Apple has collected enough data to finally figure out that we actually want colors.
That we actually want colors.
Because
and
the newest iPhones and those newest iPads, only the cheap ones though. Make sure you don't get the Pro. How dare you? Come in these really bright colors.
Very vibrant, kind of like back in like the 2000s or like the 90s when they had the, you know what I'm talking about, like the, pull up the picture here, of the old MacBooks and stuff, like the Macs. The old Macs. Very cute, very like aesthetically
iMac
pleasing.
G3.
The
iMac G3 they were beautiful.
Or like the laptop versions. Very cute.
Color matching keyboard and mice.
Yes. Oh, it was so like it was like a future that they kind of promised us and then took it away and made everything very corporate white, very minimalistic, very sad beige baby, but make it everybody's not a baby. We're just all adults. Nothing's colorful, nothing's fun.
Apple and Samsung does it too.
Yes.
But on a lesser extent, like same with the other companies do it as well. But like if you get the base model, you get the fun colors. Yes. If you get a Pro, they disappear.
They go away.
The new like 24-inch, the cheapest iMacs that you can buy, they come in every color. It's amazing. But you get to like a Mac Studio or a Mac Pro,
the color's just
silver.
Gone.
You get one color. They don't even give you black. Mac Mini come in silver and black. Pro, silver. One color.
One
iPhone,
color.
silver.
Black, maybe.
Black. You get, and every year they pretend it's a new color black.
They're like,
black,
hey guys, check out this phone that's totally new and very different in these three colors: midnight, black, purple, and white gray. And you're gonna love it. We have 400 terabytes of storage. They're never going to do that.
No,
they're not going to even try and figure. That'd be crazy.
And they would charge. No, they'll do it.
They would try
for an extra $20,000 on top of your plan. You get to have the 40 terabyte iPhone.
Come get the iPhone 73 with 400 terabytes of storage for only $50,000 plus tax.
We decided that we took a brave move in deciding iPhone does not need storage
anymore.
With iCloud Plus,
Air, we're gonna
that new iPhone Air. How is it lighter? We took out all the storage.
How is it lighter? We got rid of everything that makes the iPhone the iPhone. Battery gone. Storage gone.
We had the courage to remove the unnecessary.
And now we're gonna give you a microchip that you can put inside your head, and you're gonna love it. They're gonna find some way.
iPhone XXLIE.
It's Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is turning in his grave actively. I don't remember when the iPhone came out.
2007.
When I was born, I'm older than the iPhone by a couple of months because it came out in June. Fact check that.
I'm older than by 1 month.
I'm older than it by multiple, so you suck. But when the iPhone first came out, obviously it looked different. Actually, I have an iPhone 4.
Me too, guys.
They're
so pretty.
They're so cute and telling of the times of 2014.
Well, no, they're definitely small and thick.
They're small and thick, and they use those old
the 30 pin
flat ones. I had an iPad for a while because I think for a long time they kept up with that with the iPads in like 2017.
Right.
And then they were like, you know what? We're just going to have everything be the same charger for the phone, for Apple.
They finally figured it out.
And then they went to Type-C, and here we are. But it's like, back to the colors, yes. And things not being really appealing. It's like they try and get more money out of people by making things more expensive and trying to add on these cool features. Just give us what we promised. Just give us everything back. Go back to 2005 and look at all the advertisements. Look at what you used to do, what you used to be. The passion for creating things that people can keep and cherish and collect. That's why people collect things. That's why people love going to like antique stores and going to thrift stores.
Thrifting has made a big comeback.
A big comeback, which is good and bad.
Because now I have to share. And also you people, you resellers on Depop have made things 10 times more expensive. And I hope you know. My friend, you will perish. She bought a prom dress on Depop. And this prom dress, it was beautiful. She put it on once. It was gold and all that. And then she was looking at like the butterflies. They had little butterflies on the shoulder, but one of them was coming off. And she's like, is that hot glue? They hot glued it. Depop hot glued. You resellers are demon spawn. No refunds, by the way. No refunds. Nope. I'm gonna sell this for 10 times its price. Baby tee, vintage 2005, and it's a Bobby Jack like t-shirt that fits a 5-year-old. They cut in half. That definitely only costs like at least $15 or $10. You pay per pound, and you're trying to charge like it's new. Like, how dare you? I would understand if you're selling something that you bought for like $70 and selling it for maybe like $80 or $90. I don't know. But then it'll be like, even the like old vintage stuff that they sell is still better than the new vintage stuff. Yeah, because it's vintage. It's old. People are gonna buy it regardless. Because a company will come out with like a vintage style, and it'll be like the cheapest clothing you've ever felt. It's just like this is not why we like it. It feels like it was made in a Sheen factory. Those kids don't work hard enough. We're not working hard. I don't know what they're paying. I don't know what. Right, it couldn't be enough. Child labor. They need to. These shirts suck. They suck. My book bag fell apart. Hey guys, Timmy. It's Hollister. We're releasing all the old things. No, it's Juicy Couture. You remember those sweatpants that you were begging for? We're going to give it to you at the lowest quality possible. For twice the price. For twice the price. Happy birthday. Are you happy? And then they wonder why people are upset. Hey, you gave us what? It's kind of like a here, dang. Like it's like here. And then when they do that, guess what happens? 2 weeks later, these clothes get thrifted again. And now I can't tell if this is the original. Looking at 2 Uggs. People are like, oh my God, guys, look, I just went thrifting and I found this vintage Juicy Couture tracksuit. Girl, that was from last year. That was re-released that they came out last year. They were like, hey, we're coming out with a re-release for things that you loved, and we're going to make it ugly and worse and make it polyester for whatever reason. But people, they just like buying stuff. That's like the one part of, and I'm sure that's on purpose. Yes. But that's the one part of like physical items that has stayed. People just like buying things. I was telling my friends this, like Temu is such a bad company, but like the idea of going through the catalog and picking out what I want, and then them shipping it to my house 2 weeks later, just like a simple and then search. I get to open the supersized bright orange box and open all the plastic. It's goodness. It's people like, it's like that materialism. Nobody really wants anything material, girl. Old. But and is it our fault? No. Because if you think about it, it's advertising. They did that on purpose. The man trademark. The man TM. It's their fault. It's not us. It's not like we were like, I actually hate reading books physically, and I don't like. You see this book right here? To make the effort to go backwards, to just to rub against the grain. That's not how this works. It takes so much extra effort just to get a CD, compared to just streaming on music. They just make it so easy.
It's so easy. It's just you have to buy a subscription, or if you're on Spotify like a weirdo.
Where do you get a CD from?
Where do you get
there's one music store in the whole
tri-state area.
There's one music store,
anything.
and they don't have every CD. They have what's popular, and what's popular was what artists re-release for you to, and then they charge a lot. Because they're selling collector's items. They're not selling CDs.
Ooh, look at this digital signed vinyl.
When vinyls were made for the masses, they were made as cheaply and as easily as possible, so you can get a vinyl for $15. But now it's 30.
Because people hang them up on their walls. They don't actually. Yes, that's why I looked at you. People hang them up on their walls, and they don't actually have record play. Get a record player if you want to. I don't know. They're expensive.
I have one. I don't use it. I don't know where it is. I have one. I have a record player sitting somewhere, but
collecting dust.
I paid $20 on Amazon for a poster that happens to have a plastic disc inside, and then
a poster that happens to
have a plastic disc inside.
Sounds like a vinyl.
The 12 by 12 inch poster with the plastic disc.
I don't know. You're just saying words.
It was a vinyl, of course, and it was amazing. I have never listened to it. But
I think that's also a problem with people not really wanting to buy digital media, is because it's more expensive now. Because it's vintage.
They know what they did.
Resellers.
It's either because it's vintage. It's always stupid collectors. It's because people like me, they just want to hang it on their wall, and so they make them really nice. They make separate cover art for the vinyl, and now it's $30, $40.
Like the only reason why people buy vinyls is because they want to show people that they listen to Taylor Swift.
It's a way to prove it.
It's a way to prove it. Hey guys, I love Taylor Swift so much that I'm going to buy this vinyl that's $45 that I got at Target in the book section and hang it up on my wall. But nobody's going to listen to it, because why would you do that?
Convenience isn't always a bad thing. No. Like, people used to not believe in having everything be digital because they thought it was dumb for the reasons that we're listing, but it's not all bad.
No.
Like, listening to a CD or a cassette, like a portable CD, those things sucked. Your music was skipped. It would slowly deteriorate and scratch.
Same thing with video games. You had to blow into the cartridge.
Well,
you know,
when you into your cartridge, and you wonder why it doesn't work anymore. But
it's not working. I can't play Mario.
I can't play Mario. Oh my God.
I can't play Mario, guys.
Get the lens wide.
Cooking Mama won't work. I've been blowing on it for 5 minutes. It's ghetto. So yeah.
But when the iPod came out, which even then the iPods.
I like the iPod Touches, or not the iPod Touches. Which iPods are those? iPods with the screens?
Touch.
iPod Touch. Those are very cute. Very convenient.
They all have screens.
No, not all of them.
The touch screen.
Not all iPods have touch screen.
Oh, you're right. You mean, I guess, like the Shuffle, but...
Yeah, the iPod... the Shuffle is the one without the screen.
The iPod Shuffle, exactly. The iPod Shuffle is the one without the screen. So to say the iPod with the screens, that's every other
iPod.
So, well, I'm sorry. You lived a lame childhood. It's okay. I like... My iPods had screens on them. They were great.
I didn't have an iPod with a screen. Sorry. I don't... Okay.
Well...
I had an iPod. It was the iPod Shuffle. When the wired headphones were rounded. I don't know what the port is called. Of course you do. Go ahead. What's it called?
3.5 millimeter headphones.
3.5 millimeter headphones, Matthew? Is that what it's called? 3.5
It's a 3.5 millimeter aux port.
Yeah, I had one of those. So my childhood was just fine.
The point I was making is the iPod, it had the technology to just gapless playback, and then your music didn't skip. It would like load your music beforehand, and it was amazing. It was great.
You also had to go through the process of like downloading music.
Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. And that brings us to Napster and LimeWire. The revolution of stealing music online.
I don't know how old some of you are. Yes, I do. But LimeWire was a thing that the millennials used, back in the, millennials, the 30-year-olds that hate us.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They used that to rob and pirate.
They would share music. LimeWire would be, the way it would work is somebody would buy a disc and they would use software to rip it from the disc and upload it to their computer. And then they would share it peer to peer. with other. It was called peer-to-peer networking.
Was it illegal?
Very.
Yeah, but
Well, technically no.
It was the 2000s.
Technically no.
Get you?
But no. Like I don't. That was the whole thing. Is like it's actually not illegal. I'm just sharing music with my friends. But it was very clear that they were not supposed to do it. They were not
supposed to do it, like and, with pirating things.
The music companies, the record labels were having a big problem with this because they weren't making any money. They're like, hey, because CDs, buying our stuff. People paying $20 for 15 songs where only one of them is the one that you wanted is what kept artists alive, right? But more importantly, to the record label, it kept them self-paid.
Yeah.
So record labels, they put a big focus on the artist as if because that's the people we care about. Oh. They're like, Taylor Swift isn't making any money.
Taylor Swift is not.
Bruno Mars is not making cash right now.
You see Andre 3000, right? His music, nobody's buying. He's poor. You see him, he's poor.
Funny enough,
look at him, he's poor.
You look at streaming today, where it's like you get half a penny for every stream of a song. Which I found
out about that a couple months ago. Right. People who have music on Spotify, who have thousands or millions of monthly listeners. Girl, they're not making anything from that.
Right.
Hello?
And the artist, more importantly, the artist isn't making any money. The record label gets paid every time. Making all and all of a sudden, they don't care.
They don't care.
But when it was like, oh my God, we aren't making any money. Bruno Mars is poor.
Give Bruno Mars your money. Give the racially ambiguous man your money. No. He would catch a grenade for you.
He would do it. He said it.
He said it.
Catch a grenade.
Look at him. Give him your money. So
my friend, he did a calculation when Spotify Rap came out last year. He was like, how much money have I made, Tyler the Creator? He had like, I don't know, 4,000 hours to stream music and then something. He's like, yeah, I made him $16.
I could listen to my favorite band's music 40 times every day. I could have like at least, I don't know how many hours of listening time is
you
that.
Made them what, $30?
$30. I could listen to, what's a band? I don't know. Slipknot.
Avenged Sevenfold.
I could listen to Avenged Sevenfold 50 times and they would only get maybe $40. Maybe 10.
50 times?
50?
50 times total. Girl, they get $1.
They get $2.
If that, they get $1, maybe
$1, maybe a couple of cents. 30 cents.
500 times. Now you're closer to $1.50. No, it's not okay.
Which is why streaming, I think, is stupid. People are like, oh, this artist is great because she has like millions of streams. Who cares? Michael Jackson. You want to know? You want to know about what real like fame and like actual good numbers are? When Michael Jackson was selling out, he was selling out disc and records every single day. I mean millions. And that's what people don't understand.
Bro, people showed up to one of the Super Bowls. He wasn't performing. He was just there.
He was just there.
And they had to like pause the whole game.
They were like, wait, they like, y'all, Michael Jackson.
Why are we looking at the football players? Who is this man?
He starts moonwalking across the turf.
And then he does his little thing. And he just showed up. He's wearing sunglasses. Dude,
he was just there.
Wild.
Y'all leave that man alone. He just wants to watch football.
But
with his family, I think.
Sexy Red, she can go wherever she wants. She showed up to people's high schools and no one cared.
And nobody cared. In Missouri, girl, get her out. Let it. People think that their fave is like the greatest artist ever. No. If we had to even talk about who would probably be like, if we didn't have streaming,
right,
and we had what they like had back in the day where you had to buy a record or a vinyl. Listen to the radio. If we had that, I promise Taylor Swift, Biba Doobie, and I'm fighting people, I don't care. Biba Doobie and what's that girl, Gracie Abrams? Nobody would care about them. I promise you that right now.
It seems to be a very select demographic of people that you're pointing out right now.
Yes, I am. Freedom of speech. America.
Hallelujah. What's the point of a podcast if not to talk about my opinion to nobody else's?
But it's like numbers aren't that important when it comes to streaming because your favorite artist is not making any money. That's still not even half the people on the planet, and they probably would not be as famous.
That's why artists go on tour.
And that's why they go on tour. That's why they
push out tours before the album even comes out because that's how you make money. You sell T-shirts, you go on tour, you get the posters.
You sell merch at the concert.
The $50 hoodie.
$50. Ooh! went to a concert about 2 years ago, I think. Pierce the Veil. We all know that band.
Of course, everybody
in the world,
I'm sure,
knows about Pierce the Veil. I went to that concert and they were selling merch at a table. And I was like, I want merch. I want to be cool. I want proof that I was there.
Of course.
I want proof.
Because, they don't want you taking pictures in the venue
photos,
and stuff.
because that's lame. You have to live in the moment. Who cares? Whatever. I took a bunch of videos. But I went up to that table and I said, I want a t-shirt. Why was that t-shirt, that very mediocre t-shirt, by the way, the design was not that cool. It was $45. That t-shirt was $40. One of the hoodies, another shirt was probably $30. A hoodie was $50.
I don't understand.
I don't get it. You're already paid for the ticket. No, I didn't. But what am I doing here? Why am I giving? What more do you want from me? My legs? Do you want a limb?
You want
me to donate
Is this
blood?
what it needs to be? If I tattoo my arm and hand it to you,
do you want that? I don't get it. I don't understand. It's not worth paying all this money for something temporary. It's a lot of the things that are online or whatever.
It just isn't.
The internet is kind of like digital footprint.
It's forever until the
it's
corporation says it's not.
I actually don't want to keep doing this, so I'm going to shut everything down and you're never going to have Wi-Fi again. And then y'all are going to be panicking, and then it's going to be 1990.
When old games shut down their servers and people get really upset. When Nintendo took down the, that was probably 2017 when they shut down the servers for the Wii.
When Nintendo shut down the servers for the Wii. I am still upset about that. Because they can do that. Believe it or not.
It's not expensive, I'm sure. It couldn't cost that much.
We can torrent it. We can
just make it smaller if there's less people. But
get a 3DS and cheat. Just I don't understand shutting down things entirely. Getting rid of something that people loved and cared about, which is why I don't understand so many game companies and big corporations and movie companies. Why are you taking something that you knew people liked away and making something worse, giving us something 10 times worse that we did not ask for, that we didn't want, that doesn't work? Why
the idea of lost media.
Lost media is a very spooky thing sometimes, but with that, music, it was a song from the 80s. Nobody was ever going to find that if he wasn't alive, if he just didn't care and was like, I'm the one who made the song, but I'm not going to tell anybody anything, we would have never known. And which is why I think it's important to
preserve media. But there's legal problems with preserving media. Apparently, Internet Archive has been a thing for a long time, and they've been getting in trouble because they're slowly crossing the boundaries between, is this preserving media
or is
it pirating from big corporations? The Sims 2 was considered lost media for a long time until they re-released it. A couple months ago?
Yeah.
Before that, it was lost media, you could go on Internet Archive and download a copy for yourself because we're preserving it. Here you go.
And here you go.
And then they had to get it taken down because it's not lost anymore.
Because it's not lost anymore. Now they've resold it.
The idea that EA has a lost game that's The Sims
is crazy.
If you think about it, there was no other way to play it. It was only for operating systems that aren't supported anymore, consoles that don't exist anymore. You couldn't buy the game, so it was lost.
What are you going to play?
Because EA was holding it back from us for some reason.
Because money. They, with certain games, whenever you pirated a game, it would put up a piracy screen and be like, hey, did you steal this?
Something's not right.
We know what you did.
It's okay, baby girl. Don't tell anybody.
Shh. Nobody needs to know. Let me have my physical things. Let me steal if I want to. Let me pirate something. Because if you're not going to give it to me regardless, why would I give you my hard-earned money when things are already expensive as it is, instead of just going out and because a lot of things are still being resold. A lot of people are reselling old computers. So it's not like it's gone.
Right.
Digital media is not taking everything, is not engulfing everything. Hope isn't completely lost with people buying stuff that DVDs and discs and just anything physical that you can hold on to for a very long time. Yeah.
Keep on buying.
This is Destiny Love.
And this is Matthew Gilliard.
Thank you for watching The Scratch. We'll see you next week.
Signing off.
Bye. Yay. We did.
Like this video was a lot longer than the last one.
Yeah, but we spoke a lot.